Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the 54th episode of Gyaniki Tech Talk. Our guest speaker for today, Dr. Rashi Gupta, fondly known as the Batterywali of India, is the pioneer in the area of manufacturing of advanced lithium batteries in India, along with the world's smartest lithium battery. She is the founder and managing director of Vision Mechatronics Pvt Limited, leading it towards a name to reckon for in the field of robotics, renewable energy, and energy storage. She holds a degree of BE, MBA, LLM, and PhD to her title. She is a chairperson at Energy International Solar Energy Storage and Women's India Clean Tech Business Club. She is also a committee member across multiple organizations, nationally and internationally, across multiple areas. She has been featured as top 40 global women leaders in energy storage 2022 and Asia's most influential women in renewable energy 2020. She has also been awarded as Global Women Leadership 2021 for her work on gender equality and women empowerment globally. She has also been featured among top 50 women in STEM by CII 2021 for her contribution and excellence in the STEM field. It is a pleasure to have you today with us, ma'am. The platform is all yours.
Thank you so much. Thank you. I'm happy to be on this platform. It's a new thing for me. It's something different from what I've been usually talking about and doing. Okay, now I'm here to talk about lithium. Now, lithium is the new latest buzzword that we all are aware of, and we have been all talking about the lithium batteries, energy storage, and renewable energies, climate change, climate emergencies. But the point is, why do we need storage in the first place? Is it really required? I mean, and are we really rightly storing energies? Now, first of all, there are many types of energies here, and what we're talking of is just storing one type of energy, that is the electrical energy. I mean, all of us are energies, and we need to understand that we have to harness and store the best possible energies that we can. So, the first and foremost is we have abundance of renewable energies available with us. Yeah. So, when I'm talking about renewable energies, what do we see? We see the most low hanging fruit, that is the solar sun's energy, because as a country we are blessed with a lot of sunlight, so it's very nice for us to have a lot of energy around with electrical when we can store that sun's energy into an electrical form and use it, because that's the most easiest form of energy that we can get and harness and store. Now, what happens is India has been a very traditional country to have energy storage. We have been storing many things. A lot of us have been taught to store money in the bank accounts, water in the bins, and in the storage tanks, overhead, underground, and everywhere. Even at home, we have water tanks, and then we store a lot of food at home. We are not one of those, who will just go to the market and get for one day groceries. We generally love to store. That is the nature that we have. That is our upbringing and culture that India has created. So the same goes for our energies also. So we have to learn how to effectively store each of the energy that we have. Now the sun's energy is the most easiest and abundantly available one. So putting it into the lithium-ion batteries makes more sense. Now what happened was, when we were trying to do lithium-ion batteries way back in 2015, and everybody thought that this is not the right thing to go about, because at that point of time nobody understood lithium except for the phones which were there, which had the lithium polymer batteries. These were not available so easily that they are now. And it was a lot of challenge to understand a new technology, bring it to the country, and to effectively make it available for people. And then the second challenge that we faced at that time was, of course, now there are a lot of venture capitalists and there's a lot of capital and funding available around. It's more easy. People have opened up in terms of investments, but in our times that was not happening. So in coming down to those times in 14 and 15, investments were a big challenge. I mean, you had those traditional methods of getting the capital for yourself. So that was one more challenge that we faced. And then I was like, what are we doing? Where have we made it to the next level? Have we taken the product to the next level? So just having some form of battery storage is not going to make sense because battery is generally understood by all of us. We have seen traditionally lead acid batteries where people open up, they put water, they seal it again, and they do all sort of maintenance. Of course, by then we had the sealed maintenance free variants also. But then what if I could make the battery talk to the consumer? What if I could, make a situation where I knew what would go wrong with the battery? What if I made it smart? So this was a challenge that we took up at that point of time, and then we decided that if we can make it smart, if we can make it interactive, it would really help the consumer to have more confidence in the new technology. Number one. Number two, it would give us a lot of insight on what is happening on sites. Why could there be problems? What could be done to avoid these problems? How can we actually take the customer service to the next level? How can we create a robust product where maintenance is not required? We all have these challenges, that every time something goes wrong, like for example, now one of my equipments have gone wrong and I've been struggling for last 2 weeks to get it repaired and sorted. And it's a well-known multinational and I'm still struggling. So these struggles have been in a part of our daily lives. Now, how do we take it to the next level that at least for electricity, we don't have to struggle? I mean, our woes with the discoms have been tremendous. We've had tremendous woes with the discom. Each one of us here must be aware of how difficult it is to deal with the electricity department. So, if somebody is using renewable energies, greener energies, cleaner energies, then let it be really clean and happy. Let them make the let them be happy. Let the happiness index increase with having a good clean energy coming into the picture. So we decided to add a lot of intelligence into the battery management system. Now the core here, when you talk of a lithium battery, there are two major parts of it. One is the lithium-ion cells, and the other part is the battery management system. So we decided, since we could not manufacture the cells, and we still are not planning to do as of now, if that question would pop up sometime later, so I've answered it that we are not planning to manufacture cells as of now. So what we decided was that let's play by our strengths. And our strengths was electronics, manufacturing, software, and doing something innovative out there in that domain, which we could do. Indigenous manufacturing. So we decided to make our BMS a very intelligent BMS, and we added a lot of intelligence to it, smartness to it, IoT to it, so that at any given point of time we have the entire data of each and every cell that is in the battery pack. We can fetch the data at any point of time. Of course, every 2 hours the BMS updates the data on the server, and then there is a lot of AI that we've added, and we could do a lot of data analytics on it, and we can now do a preventive and predictive monitoring of each and every battery that has been commissioned, installed across the globe wherever we have. Now, in that, what happens is we got a lot of insight on the data, how the cells behave. No two cells, no matter even if they are from the same batch, from the same production line, everything is same, but no two cells will be exactly the same. Over a period of time, the behavior and the performance of each and every cell differs from each other. So what happens in that case? When they differ like this, it is very important that the BMS understands this behavior and reports whatever is necessary information for the EMS or the inverter systems or the VCU in the vehicles to take a necessary decision on what needs to be done next. So this intelligence was required. Now with this, I would just cite one example. In the lockdown, in the early lockdown in June 2020, yeah, May and June 2020 at that time, there was this very heavy torrential rains, and there was this cyclone which had come in the interiors of Maharashtra. And at that point of time, one of our customers was struggling with the power positions, because the entire transmission line of a few kilometers was disrupted and destroyed. And it seems it took 90 days for the discom to just actually restore the entire electricity line out there, and there's 90 days the consumer was completely off grid. And in that there was a lightning strike also. And I mean, imagine the kind of safety that is required. We put a fuse into the grounding system also, and that's the reason why we did not have to actually visit the site also. I mean, we took the safety to the next level. I mean, people think that it is stupidity or it is not required, and why do you have to make systems safe? So one of such incidents can happen at any given point of time during the tenure of your, or the shelf life of your product and your service that you're offering, and such situations occur. So for us, it came pretty early, thankfully, and so we had, since we had put the fuse into the ground line also, and the fuse blew off. And as a practice, we usually supply extra fuses to the customer early itself, along with the installation, so that we don't have to go to the site ever. And we have plug and play device. Our devices are completely plug and play, so we just replace the fuse out there. System got working again, and it was sorted. And then we had all the data throughout the lockdown period, and of course that gave us so much of insight, and that helped us so much to tweak and to help the system run around, and without having any service personnel going on to the field. So this gave us a lot of freedom, this gave us a lot of power actually, not just dealing into the power systems, but it makes made our team also very powerful and equipped to deal with such situations on remote places. And that's how we deal with our international clients as well. Because when we added preventive and predictive monitoring, IoT made the system smart, made the systems intelligent. This took it to the next level. And it gave the customer a peace of mind. So when we're talking of making, Atmanirbhar Bharat, self-reliant Bharat, so the question is, how self-reliant are we as a manufacturer, and how self-reliant is the consumer who is using your product? So when you're talking of Atmanirbhar Bharat, when you're talking of self-reliance, you need to both the aspects. The industry has to be self-reliant, and the consumer also has to be the self-reliant one. Then only the country will become self-reliant. So we together have to work hand in hand. And we took this one extra step of going a little ahead by adding lot of intelligence, preventive and predictive monitoring, using technology to its maximum leverage to get the absolute potential out of the product that we could. So this was one of the examples. The second, I would also give one of the examples of this recent installation, a year-old installation that we have of the megawatt scale at Gurgaon, the megawatt scale batteries that we have. This is the first of its kind in the country, where it's like the hybrid battery systems that we've installed. What we did was, we were given a challenge where the consumer wanted an 18 hours of backup, and with lithium it is not possible to have go beyond 4 hours. It doesn't make an economic sense, and something which is not techno commercially viable or economic, it does not make sense to deploy it. So commercial viability is the core, and in India, we have this mindset that sasta sundar tikau. It has to be cheap. It has to be economic. Instead of the value for money concept, we look at what is the capital investment going out of my pocket. And the second thing we see is, in the terms of EVs or in terms of a car, we see kitna deti hai, what is the mileage. It's the same thing is, what is the ROI when you look at the stationary storage, what is the ROI, in how many years I'm going to get my ROI. My return of investment is when. So, these are the things that are the most challenging ones that we see in energy storage deployments. So at that point of time, the first and foremost challenge was that the power quality was absolutely hopeless. Absolutely hopeless. I mean, over there, every day we would see, the transformers blowing off or the CTPTs blowing off, something or the other going wrong on the switch side. And then the next challenge was that there were long duration power cuts. So going more than 4 hours with lithium would not make any economic sense. So what was to be done next? So again, an innovation is required. So we just realized that why don't we just mix up two different technologies, one which is capitally less expensive to a capitally more expensive, and we just combine those two to give something very unique to the customer, as well as have his 18 hours and 20 hours of backup that he wants, and improve the power quality situation, combine it with renewables, and go on completely clean and green. So just taking up that humongous task, we had to actually develop a new controller, and this entire thing had to be done within a span of 8 months. So achieving that in span of 8 months from the time of getting the order to execution, and then the semi-lockdown conditions, we had to get the bus in the in the mid camps actually, because we were not allowed to travel, and we could not. Some cities had a lockdown, some did not have. So transporting material was a big challenge. So a lot of challenges throughout the project that we had. But then the most technically challenging point was, how do we do a hybridization of two different technologies. It was one was lithium, that is LFP that we used. The other one was uh, lead acid variant of tubular gel batteries, and we combined the two together to get an 18 hours of backup. And a most important point in that was, they needed a zero blackout. No matter what happens, we have to ensure that we have a zero blackout system. So giving a response time of the system within 7 milliseconds, so that it's a flicker free kind of a smooth system that we get. So we had to do all these challenges, and then we overcame that. We also got the innovation award for it. Then electric vehicles. So this was my journey for a short, quick thing on the on the stationary storage size. And now, when you talk of the electric vehicles, we all have seen there are a lot of fires around in the entire electric vehicle domain, and most of you are all here EV enthusiasts, experts, that I can see a few names in this. So the thing is, there are a lot of factors, when EV fires are considered, and many of us. There was a recent brainstorming sessions also. A lot of people are talking of standardization and creating standards. I mean, both of them are different things. When you talk of standardization and you talk of standards, they are two different aspects. So I work with BIS also very closely on formulating standards for the country. But something that we have to understand and question ourselves is, how valuable is our life? How much are we going to risk it for? So we have to realize, when you're buying something, when you're buying any equipment, especially when it is related to any hazardous uh, product is involved into it, like batteries are a hazardous product for that matter. So anything that is involved into it completely, what we need to understand here is that, what is the quality that we are going to get? How much is the innovation index? And what is the reliability of the system that we are looking at? Now, with the system, I do not here want to just focus on the RE side of it, but I'm also talking about the EV side of it. So, as a vehicle, as a whole, as a system. So, we need to realize, what are the quality parameters we are looking at? What is the value for money? You just cannot see what is the cheapest of the cheapest of the cheapest. That is not going to work in the long run. So what we need to understand is, what is the hazard that we are actually looking at? What is the climate impacts that we are looking at? Now, mind you, there are two types of impacts. One is that what we have an impact on the climate, and the other one is what the climate has on us. And now, up a few years until now, what we were doing was, we were impacting the climate, and now the climate is impacting us. It's the other way around now. So we need to really understand, evaluate what the technologies that we are going to create, how are they going to impact the environment, and how the environment is going to react and impact them. If we do not make a twin assessment, we are not really creating a complete sustainable environment for all of us to be holistically being, to live our lives. And not just us. I mean, forget the second generation. I'm not even talking of the next generations. We ourselves will not be able to survive if we have not created very effective, robust, and economic technologies, if we don't create them now. So it's very important that we do it now. Otherwise, we will be very late in this entire scenario. So when you're talking of EVs, there are multiple factors on the debates. One is, why is there a thermal runaway? Why is it having so much of fires all around? And there are statements that EVs will catch fire. But I'm very sure that we can make it safer. I mean, I would proudly say that we have not had a single warranty replacement in the last 9 years of our existence in this business, and we have not had a single fire globally anywhere. So it's very important to make something which is very robust, very focused, and something which will create value for everyone here. So thermal runaway, yes, it happens, and there are ways and means to avoid it and to create a very robust infrastructure ecosystem. So we all can work on the technologies. We can work on the management systems, very important. We can work on the data analytics. We can work on making a very effective, robust service support for the EVs. Because today, what happens is, if anybody, I've been recently seeing one of the reviews also on the EVs recently, where it says that that if something goes wrong, there is no on-site service support that is available, and the car has to be sent back to the dealer or the main service shed, and then it has to get repaired, and then it comes back. So can we have there is a lot of innovation scope, there is a lot of business scope available in the entire EV ecosystem, but how much are we ready to take it very fast?
Dr. Rashi, first of all, thank you and sharing from your passion about this industry. Also, the examples that you cite, the initial troubles and the challenges. That's definitely a journey that has made you come where you are today. Obviously, it's an amazing journey that you have had, and a lot of sharing of knowledge and thoughts that you have always been known for. So, the tag that comes along with you, the Batterywali tag, that stays pretty much. So, Dr. Rashi, any parting words from your side?
Well, I think we need to step up our game for having more human resource and talent pool coming into the power sector, into the energy storage sector. And the storage sector, I include both the EVs and the REs, and wherever energy you can store, whatever energy you can store. We have to step up our game for the R&D. We have to look at more indigenization. We have to look at financial innovation. So the possibilities are limitless. And when we channelize our energy, the energy around us will become cleaner, greener, happier, and a sustainable ecosystem for everyone to survive in this. So that's all from my side. Thank you very much for this opportunity.
Thank you. Thanks a lot.